Hey guys, I'm Agi. Today I'll be giving tips and tricks for Kancho. This isn't really a guide for people new to the class because I'm not qualified. So I'm assuming you're already familiar with some of the skills and the gears. Feel free to skip around the topics and yeah, timestamps link below. Keep in mind, the Nippon datasheet is outdated, so damages are only a rule of thumb as I don't have the numbers to back them up. This is your only source of pierce damage and cripples with the Kodachi. When it comes to damage, it's second highest out of the stances, but the dash attacks are a little inaccurate, requiring you to tilt your camera slightly to sort of compensate for that. This one has the lowest damage overall and sort of bad range, possibly with a lower windup, but in my opinion its only niche was lost after they removed the cripple off the initial attack. It's one of those instances where the datasheet isn't reflective of the real game. I wouldn't really use it. The initial attack kind of has a deceptive hitbox, even outranging Kasumi. Has a tiny bit more initial and total damage than Kasumi, but the trade-off is a lack of cripple and a little bit, like negligible increased windup. So for general uses, I use Chudon because dash attacks are centered, so I don't need to input anything else. The Kodachi running attack is pretty telegraphed, so you can use off guard while you're running with your weapon out. It comes out rather suddenly and looks a little janky, but on top of that it's relatively unpunishable if someone blocks it. Make sure you turn your camera to compensate like you do in Kasumi though. Don't sleep on the Michael Phelps passive. Water combat is more common than you might think. Here you can see I have negative 5 speed. So if I start swimming here, you can see I can go very fast. And the thing you should note is swimming speed is constant. So here, if I take off my armor, I actually move the same speed. So this means that you'll be able to outrun and catch any non-Kancho regardless of whatever armor you or the enemy wears. You'll want to use Chudon for water combat unless the enemy is directly below you, in which case you can use Kasumi. And let's say you want to run away from someone in the water, just hold out your weapon and block, counter, until you get enough distance to eat. Eating is the most important part. You don't want to run out of energy. And it's also best to remain submerged, like fully. Stay under the water, because people with low graphics will have a hard time seeing you because their water is opaque. And ranged units will probably not even hit you because they won't be able to see you, given that their graphics are set to very low. Smoke bombs when used in the water will give you cover, but it won't send you. Same thing goes for when you're in a tree. So you can still use them for cover, but you won't get any of the movement tech. Your smoke dash follows your movement key, so depending on what direction you hold, it'll send you that way. For example, I'm holding A. This also applies if you're standing still. If you want a stationary smoke while you're running, you just stack it with your normal dash. The infinite warehouse fart method. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, open the inventory, the warehouse. Click your skill, use your smoke bomb. Immediately store your smoke bombs. And then you want to wait for the cooldown. If you have smoke bombs in your inventory while this cooldown ends, then it will eat up one of your smoke bombs. So once you wait for this cooldown, you can take your smoke bombs back, fart again, put it back, rinse and repeat. I don't condone using this in full loop. It might be bannable. This is forbidden technique. If you're sneaking around, I suggest wearing standard fittings, blue and black if available. This helps you blend into the environment more, especially at night. And if people have higher graphics, shadows are going to be more intense, so you'll hide in there better. And when you're wearing your Kusari, only your Hakama appears. So ideally that should be on the darker end. Brown, black, and purple are good. You don't have to worry about your Kozade color because that doesn't show up when you're wearing a Kusari. If you want to take it a step further, you could change your Roblox face to pitch black. I see a lot of people do that. Most importantly though, use light feet. You don't even need to spend a keybind on it. As you can see, I had it swapped back to evasive. Just swap as needed. It's very handy for getting the jump on someone. As you can see here, snuck up behind barracks, he doesn't know I'm here. What happens next is shocking. Pine trees are very important tools in your arsenal. They're good for sneaking up on people, and they're also very good for sneaking away. It matters in both instances, though, the kind of pine tree you pick. When it comes to picking the right pine tree, you'll want to have a feel for which ones hide you fully, and which ones make you stick out like a sore thumb. In this instance, I'm being 3v1'd, and I have to run away after I confirm a kill, because I'm too low to actually loot him. What I do, I start scoping out the nearest pine tree that is out of their sight, right behind the building. Next step, you have to check the top of the pine tree. If it hides you, then go all the way to the top. If not, stay halfway like here, and sit there. You will still be hidden, but you will be spending ki. Enemies have to be zoomed in and within your melee range just to see your health and clan. This makes smoke bombs far more useful to you, as you can see every non-Kancho's location and health while they can't see yours. You can play aggressively with this, though trading hits is still not on the table for Kusari users. Wearing ambiguous fittings can result in less aggression towards you, most notably in big raid battles like this one. This gives you more opportunities to firebomb and get free hits in. In some situations, you could even bluff the amount of health you have, play some psychological warfare on them. Anyone who isn't keeping good track of their hits could leave you alone if you just stand your ground and act confident. On the other end of that spectrum, you could bait them towards you by running with your weapon away, landing a free firebomb. When it comes to ancillaries, Kancho isn't as reliant on them as, say, a Kuso or Kyoto, so you can really pick whichever one fits your playstyle best. For frontliner Kanchos, I would suggest the Koiguchi. Pulling out your Kodachi faster when swapping between your bombs is always convenient, especially if you carry a lot of bombs and use them frequently. Warujis are also good for mitigating incoming cripples from those Tachi users and those spear classes, and the occasional Makibishi, but those don't happen so often, from what I've seen. For rangers, your black powder's your go-to, guns are always great, and the final ancillary I can recommend are chopsticks. Hear me out. If you don't have anything else, these are pretty decent for eating when you're pressured by enemies. You'll lose more energy while swimming, so you're bound to be vulnerable eating a lot. This is where that comes in. Mitigates your time eating, mitigates your time vulnerable, you get more kills in the ocean. If you're playing with honor, you're not doing it right. Well, if you're playing with honor in this game in general, you're definitely not doing it right. But you need to play like a mosquito when you're playing Kancho. It's a very Sigma class, you do your own thing, and you sometimes win, you sometimes lose, but that's the game. You should be having fun mostly. If you're not having fun, you're definitely not doing it right. So make sure you get your corny one-liners in, make sure you're always getting in their head. It might even sometimes give you the advantage in fights, but mostly it's just for enjoyment. And it's even better if they get in on it and they start having fun. In-game banter is always great, as long as it doesn't get personal or defamatory. That's where the real fun of the game is, in my opinion. In these clips here, I've been solo raiding Chubu, and once I broke in through the front of the castle, I actually let them keep barracks. That way I could farm sets off them. Material gain, it just gives me this neuron activation, so I just wanted to kill and get stuff. So actually I was brain rotted here. And they keep coming back. 90% of gamblers quit before they hit it big, and it's because I keep taunting them. Taunting is your greatest weapon. You want to keep taunting them, running away, healing, coming back, hitting them, playing like an absolute asshole. And then, even if you do die, you still come out with a net profit, so it's a win-win. And corny one-liners, as you can see here. This like gives you an actual power boost in game, I swear. So you win a shitty 2v1 like this, just say keep your one-liners, come up with them on the spot. They don't have to be witty, they can be actually just pure unadulterated cringe. Eat berries. While Teisatsu gets the most value out of them, they're still pretty cost effective and they give a lot of energy relative to the space they take up. And you will want the extra space for looting. You can pull your weapon out at any point during a get up animation. Granted, if you get hit, you'll probably still die if you're jumped, but it's cool to know. Anyway, that's all the tips and tricks I have to bring to the table. Not really a good player myself, but I think if Okami fixed some of the bugs, especially with firebombs, that'd help incentivize someone to stick with it. I apologize if you wanted me to cover those, but I feel it's pretty straightforward to use them anyway, and you just have to be creative. And no, I will not be putting any batteries in my smoke detector. Thank you.